Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to a rather surprising place to be talking about a brown bear attack off the coast of Vancouver Island, near an aptly named place called Cape Caution. This part of the coast is a low-elevation plain packed with coastal western hemlock trees, growing up to 200 feet tall. The trees may be tall, but the bushes beneath the trees don't shy away in presenting their beauty. Bushes like Indian Plum, American Holly, and Scotch Broom present their glory in season. The flowers in this area surpass the bushes with their dazzling display. Multicolored arrays of Chocolate Lilies, Tiger Lilies, and King Gentian radiate their colors while they sway in the gentle sea breezes. The beauty of this area belies the danger presented by animals who are not swayed by the scenery and can interrupt its peace inexorably. Along the shoreline, bull kelp wash up on shore. The scent of ocean fish emanates from the kelp as it does so, permeating the surrounding area and tricking the sensitive noses of young brown bears into investigating. More mature bears know better than to find food where the fish are difficult to get, but younger bears, trying to figure out this survival of the fittest thing, still check it out, just in case. On the afternoon of Monday, July 17, 2017, 57-year-old Randall Warnock was piloting his fishing boat for his relay route back to Bella Coola. He had left his home of Port Hardy early in the morning and launched from Cortez Island around noon. Warnock was the captain of the Nimkish, a ferry that ran between Bella Coola and Bella Bella. By 6 p.m., he'd piloted his 40-foot fishing boat for the past 6 hours when the water began to churn with the arrival of rough seas. Knowing that his fishing boat was not fit for these kinds of conditions, Warnock piloted his boat into Millbrook Cove, dropped his 14-foot aluminum skiff, and motored toward Brown Island just offshore. He planned to spend some time doing his favorite activity, beachcombing. He knew the time away from the helm, while taking a brief walk, would rejuvenate him, and jumped ashore while the waves crashed over the rocks around him. As he walked, Warnock snapped photos of interesting things for his Instagram account and investigated curious objects he found along the shore as the wind buffeted him and the bushes around him. Walking, he noticed a bunch of eagles perched in a tree, and the rare sight fascinated him briefly. After about 15 minutes of beachcombing, Warnock came upon a Scotchman's bumper and picked it up to add it to his collection of interesting items. As he walked, he studied the bumper when he heard a large twig snap behind him. As he turned his head, his vision was filled with a furious brown bear closing in on him from only 10 feet. In his split-second analysis, Warnock could see it was a juvenile bear, taller and bigger than a normal-sized black bear, but still potentially dangerous. He knew better than to run, and thought this was how his life would end. In what Warnock estimates to be a little over 1 second, the bear closed in on him, while he stood frozen in place by fear. The bear ran up to Warnock and bit onto his left knee initially. It shook its head violently, but only managed to rip his jeans to shreds and tear a few gashes in his flesh. It was trying to knock him down, but Warnock fought, losing his balance as the bear tossed him about. Seeing the man refusing to fall, the bear bit into his right knee. This time the bear's teeth punctured deeply into his flesh, tearing as it shook its head. Now invigorated by feeling the man's flesh between its jaws, the bear tossed its head even more violently. Pain shot through his leg as the bear's teeth tore through Warnock's knee tissues. Around that time he remembered that he'd brought along a knife. He reached around to his back pocket and pulled it out, but the bear's attack caused the knife to fall from his hands. He thought to himself that he had to bluff the bear. He had to show it that he wasn't a target. Over an attack that lasted around 1 minute, Warnock fought the pain of his injuries and successfully maintained his balance as the bear refused to relent. Now disarmed of his only meager weapon, Warnock had a thought flood his mind. Fight back. Fight back. He looked down at the bear and could see the bear's head lined up perfectly for a punch. Warnock decked the brown bear as hard as he could, straight in the nose, and got ready to throw another one. The effect of the punch was immediately apparent on discouraging the bear. It released his leg and stepped back a few paces. The bear bobbed its head up and down and bounced on its front legs in short steps, like it was thinking of charging back into the fray. The discombobulated and indecisive bear reminded Warnock of watching cartoons on fast forward. Its movements were unfathomably fast and erratic. Its eyes looked wild, as an abundance of adrenaline powered it, and it wasn't sure how to handle it. That is when Warnock stumbled and fell onto the rocky sandbank behind him. He could see the bear only a few feet from him, and quickly searched for something he could use as a weapon. Grabbing a large piece of driftwood, he brandished it as he rose back to his feet. Warnock lifted the driftwood to about shoulder height. He planned to hurl it at the bear, but it was a bit heavier than he thought. He was unsteady after his knees were injured. The driftwood disappointingly impacted harmlessly between the bear and the man. For some reason, this was enough to discourage the bear. It turned around and scampered back into the brush at the edge of the clearing. Only a few minutes before, Warnock was convinced he would die, and stood there bleeding and in disbelief that this was the end of the bear's attack. Knowing that he had to get out of the area to avoid a follow-up attack, Warnock limped back toward his skiff for about 15 minutes along the shore. The entire time he hiked, he continually looked back. He was haunted by imagined monsters that never materialized. He scanned his surroundings to see if the bear was following him, and hoped he had chased it away for good. Arriving at his skiff, he hurried back to his fishing boat. Warnock used the first aid kit on board his vessel to slow his bleeding and give himself some additional confidence that he would be okay. Jumping on the radio, he couldn't raise the Canadian Coast Guard, so he motored north for an hour before making contact. The Coast Guard intercepted him and brought him the rest of the way to a Port Hardy hospital. Arriving at the hospital around midnight, the most painful part for Warnock was the cleaning and stitching of his wounds. He received 30 stitches to close a 3-inch gash, which paralleled a 6-inch gash across his right knee. Minor nerve damage was done to Warnock's right knee during the attack. He also received stitches on his left knee and his ring finger before he was released at 3 a.m. After the attack, Warnock was granted a few weeks off from work to fully recover from his injuries at home in Qualicum Beach before returning to work. His injuries, though not considered life-threatening, are still too graphic to pass YouTube standards. I've posted them in the Patreon link at the bottom of this video if you'd like to view them, and the $3 a month membership fee would go a long way in supporting this channel. It's amazing to see how little damage he endured, despite what amounts to fighting for his life. Warnock's sister, Linda, marveled at her brother's decisiveness, commenting on how he knew just what to do to save himself. Warnock stated that he was just lucky that way. Very, very lucky. Warnock says he'll be wary of bears when he beachcombs in the future. He plans to carry bear spray and avoid remote beaches and rivers with a salmon run. Warnock lost his cell phone during the attack, but decided against trying to recover it, given all that he'd already been through. Regarding the bear, there is no record of any attempt to search for it or kill it. I guess the authorities figured that having his nose bloodied was punishment enough, and doubted he would ever consider attacking another human being after Warnock's ferocious fisticuffs. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I have a few questions for you. Did Warnock's refusal to be knocked off his feet save his life? Why was a young bear on such an isolated and small island? Did the presence of the eagles in the tree indicate a dead seal carcass the bear might have been guarding? Was Warnock too stubborn and tough to allow the bear to kill him? I'm unsure if I'd be so brave, seeing a brown bear charging at me. I'll be glad to read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.